Hello guys, it's still hot outside, but guess what? We are going to make a fall candle. If you love this video, go ahead and hit the like button now. Subscribe to the channel while you're sitting there. Now guys, if you want the entire recipe, you want my wick sizes, you want to know what kind of wax I use, what kind of fragrance I use, you want to make a candle that actually smells like a candle, you can sign up in the description box for the one-on-one coaching, and also the recipe will be found in the Patreon. We are going to be using this Dollar Tree teacup today, and we are also going to be using a mold that I personally made myself, guys. And this mold you can also make like banana cream pie, cherry pie, you know, all kinds of pies inside of it. This is the number if you guys need to find this actual cup, but I'm sure you can find it on Dollar Tree's website or in the store. Now listen guys, if you need to know like the candle dye that I'm using, the specific color, I'm going to leave that in the Patreon. Everything is there. Click the link in the description box and you will have everything you need to make this candle at home. Now listen, when it came down to the wicks, guys, I had to triple wick it because of the size of the actual teacup is pretty big, so you can't use one wick at all, okay? Now this is the lettuce, the top of the pie, the apple pie that we will be using. As you guys can see, I made it two different colors. Always make the top lighter and then the inside darker, because it just you can see it like through, you know, those little squares right there. And this is the shell, guys. So the thing about this is you can make it into an apple pie, or you can make it into whatever kind of pie, sweet potato pie. You guys see how big it is, so you can fit it inside the top of a candle vessel, and that is the way I wanted it to be. I use straight paraffin wax, and the good thing about this mold that I made, it's not hard to get it out, so I didn't have to slit the mold or anything like that. As you guys can see, it's pretty hard, okay? All right, so now when it came down to the top of the candle, we're going to use a whip wax, and I took some vanilla buttercream crunch and I put it in there, and that's why it came out a little bit yellow. That will happen when you use a vanillin fragrance inside of your wax, okay? All right, so first thing first is I poured my first layer and I let it sit overnight, and that is very important. Now I'm going to pour my second layer, and guys, no, I did not use yellow. I promise you that is the vanillin from the actual. And what is vanillin? It's just, you know, the ingredient in vanilla, ingredient inside the fragrance that makes it yellow, okay? So you want to let that harden up, and as you guys can see, mine is not all the way hard, but I'm just showing you guys, like, you know, you want to let it firm up so that second layer can be flat as well. That is what we're looking for. You see how those layers are just laying on top of each other and they're not sinking into each other? You want to leave it there. You want to give it time, okay? Now guys, I want to tell you about this whole process. Now we are going to whip this particular candle. We're going to whip the wax, and we're going to decorate the top with whip wax. Now, if you want to make crumble, if you want to learn how to make the whip wax, all of that kind of stuff, I have tutorials for everything. I have a free tutorial on this channel teaching you how to make whip wax, okay? I have a tutorial inside of the Patreon, guys. If you have not joined the Patreon, I don't know what you're waiting for. Okay, all right, so what I'm doing is I already made this wax yesterday and I let it sit overnight. And sometimes, well, I ain't gonna say sometimes, all the time, when you allow the wax to sit, it is hard. So you have to soften it up by, you know, whisking it, using your hand mixer or whatever. But make sure you use a heat gun first, because it is pretty tough, and you want to make sure that you don't break your machine, because it's very easy to break. Now you want to go ahead and get your piping bag and your piping tip, because you will be piping. So just start preparing all of that kind of stuff. And while I'm just, you know, preparing this, just sitting it in here, and I honestly ended up doing something completely different with it, but that's not the point. I want to talk about the mold that I'm using today, because I know a lot of people going to ask about this little teeny tiny mold. Okay, so this mold is perfect for the Dollar Tree teacup. It is not really a mold for the status jar. If you guys want to use it in that, it will take up the whole top of the status jar. So it's just perfect for like the 3-wick tumbler and, you know, like the teacup, like your bigger jars, okay? So now you want to take your candle dye and you want to put it onto a paper towel. Me, I'm using the baby wipe. If you have baby wipes, you could use that as well, because it's easier to clean it off as you go, and also to clean off your gloves, because let me tell you something. this can get pretty messy. When it comes down to grabbing these candle dyes, like I can never keep a candle dye jar clean at all, okay? I love the ones at Maple Street now because Maple Street, you know, they make it a little bit better with this twist top. I like that better than the dropper. The droppers are pretty messy. All right, so you want to take this little bit of candle dye and you want to just go ahead and wipe the top, okay? You want to wipe the top because we're going to give it like a burnt appearance. And, you know, I'm wiping it, and if I wipe too much, then I'm going back with the baby wipe and just kind of wiping that off as well. So it's just kind of making it look like it's cooked, okay? And if you need the candle dye to do that, like the actual color that I'm using, I will leave that in the Patreon as well. As you guys can see, it just kind of, you know, looks a little burnt. And so I'm just going to go around the edges because the edges is really where you want to get the most of that detail on. And like I said, guys, I'm going to be using this inside a 3-wick tumbler. So you're going to see me use this mold quite a bit. If you want the mold, I'm going to link it in the description box. I already know this mold going to sell like crazy. I'm going to prepare myself because y'all going to have me up day and night making this mold because you're not going to find this mold on Etsy. I actually printed this mold myself. Like I printed it off on my printer, and this mold is mine and it's by me. So you will not find this on anybody's website. And this is actually like one of those molds where you can put your realistic banana, you can put your realistic cherry. So it's not too small to where as though you can't fit it in bed. You can fit it in bed. If you're using like blueberries, you might be able to fit 2 blueberries. If you're using a strawberry, you'll be able to fit like 1 strawberry. If you chop it in half, you could probably get 2 or whatever. Yeah, you could get 2 because I'm going to show you exactly how big the mold is. 1 second. Okay, so this is the size of the mold right here. So it's a little bit past 2 inches, not quite 2.5. Okay, so now we're going to start piping the inside of the jar. Okay, so you don't have to have the best piping skills in the world. You don't even need to know how to pipe, okay? Because we're going to cover half of this up with the pie in bed, so it's gonna look cute even if you're not that skilled. Basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna go into the actual jar and just kind of pipe around in the circle, okay? And just like, you know, just hit the tip of it. That's how I'm explaining it today. Pipe around in the circle and hit the tip. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add. Now listen Linda, this don't stick together, okay? The only way you're going to be able to stick this together is if you use some wax to kind of shut it together. You're going to have to glue it together. In my case, I am going to just kind of use some wax on it, but it won't move, you know, once I get done doing what I'm going to do. But I'm going to use some wax as glue, okay? And as it dries, it's going to harden. Now, if you were making like an apple pie, sweet potato pie, and you filled it up or something like that, you know, you wouldn't even need to worry about that. Or if you was making an apple pie and you just put filling on the inside, or I don't know, you know, you wouldn't have to worry about it if it was filled. But in this case, you know, because of what I'm doing. Okay, so guys, you see that my wicks will be kind of misplaced a little bit and out of place. So this will actually end up being a wax melt, okay? It's paraffin, so your customer can take this out of the candle and just put it into the wax warmer, and bada bing, bada boom. But it's really, really cute. So let's go ahead, design this candle, put everything in place, and have a good time. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and get your crumble, because I'm sure you done made a lot of crumble over time. And you're just going to sprinkle a few pieces of crumble at the top. And like I said, mine smell like vanilla buttercream crunch, and it's really, really strong, okay? And now what I'm going to do is I am going to roll down my wicks. Just remember to let your customer know never to burn these wicks when they are rolled like this. Make sure that they cut them. And this is just honestly for decoration, just to make it look cute. Well, anyway, guys, if you want the mold, I will leave the mold linked in the description box. If you want to join the Patreon, that is in the description box. If you want some freshies, if you want some classes, all of that is in the description box. I am so excited about this candle. It came out so beautiful. And guys, look at it. Yes, I love the fact that we did it in 2 layers. So that just honestly, the 2 layers added an extra oomph to it, okay? And so, all right, so next what we're going to do with this mold is we are going to make us some cherry pie. Might make us some banana. I don't know. But you're going to see it soon. I got some 3-wick tumblers coming in the mail. So we're going to play around with those fall 3-wick tumblers. I am so excited to bring out the fall products. I'll see you again soon.